Okay, great. All right, welcome to Mindful Pilates. Let's get started. Let's begin standing today, and let's begin by shaking our arms and feeling into the limbs. And as you shake your arms, feel your fingers first, and then your palms, and then your wrists, up through your forearm to the elbow, and try to let go at the elbow. Now feel that lower limb. Well, not your lower limbs, but that lower part of your upper limbs. And then feel it up to the shoulders. Now, if it helps you to close your eyes, then do so. Let your knees bounce a little and feel all the way to the shoulders. And invite the joints in the hands, the wrists, the elbows, and the shoulders to open. Like this shaking would open the door. Now from here today, I want you to feel when your arms shake, where do they put pressure on the shoulder girdle and the spine? And if you're feeling it in the neck, then place your tongue on your center palate, where hard and soft palates meet, and draw back and up slightly, and see if you can take the pressure off the neck. And that might mean leaning back a little. See if you can take pressure off the neck. Now, pause the shaking and bring your hands to your heart center. And breathe into this heart center, front and back. Feel the back body rising away from the rising hands. Directly across from the rising hands, let the back of the heart rise. In Qigong, this is your heart dantian. In yoga, your heart chakra. Let one hand rise to your throat. In yoga, throat chakra. Let one hand rise to your third eye between your eyebrows. Imagine back behind your eyebrows. Third eye chakra. Let one hand rise to your crown, a little back behind your fontanelle. Your fontanelle itself. Crown chakra. Now, place one hand up in the sky. That line lifting you up towards the sun. Now from that line up towards the sun, travel down to the heart and travel down to the lower dantian. Breathe into the lower belly and into the low back. As you inhale, feel for your pelvic floor lowering towards earth. Exhale through your straw, lift the pelvic floor into the body. Inhale, release the pelvic floor towards earth. Exhale, lift the pelvic floor into the body. One more time. Now visualize right back into your pelvic bowl, second chakra. A few inches below your navel. And then place your hands a little higher on the belly, solar plexus, third chakra. Feel into this line. And step your feet together. Down that center channel between your legs from the pelvic floor. Feel into earth and root the four corners of your feet. Now bring your hands to the outer legs and hips. Come forward and around. And imagine that this whole circumference can hug that center channel. Hug the legs in towards that center channel. Root the feet and lift through the crown. And breathe into that center channel. Lift your toes, lift your arches. From the center arch, lift up through the center channel of the legs, through the pelvic floor, all the way through the crown towards the sun. Now, from the outer upper body, hug in towards that center channel. In Anusara Yoga, this was called muscular energy. Hug the whole circumference of your body in towards that center channel. Even feel this awareness of hugging towards center at the neck. And now step your feet wide. Turn your feet out, bend the knees. And lift your arms into cactus. Now right here, press your feet away from each other. Feel how some of the muscles of the legs wake up. Now hug the legs towards center. And press the feet away and hug towards center. And press the feet away and hug towards center. Now bring your pinkies around front, hug them together. And from the arms, hug into the heart center. From the legs, hug into that center channel. Take a deep inhale. Exhale through your straw. Lift the pelvic floor, lengthen that channel of the spine. Inhale. Open your arms, stretch your fingers. Exhale, bring the pinkies together, cat curl the spine. Exhaling, lift the pelvic floor, lengthen, and hug in around the center channel. Inhale, open. Exhale, especially in the front abdominal area, hug in towards the front spine. Now that doesn't mean you're sucking your belly in. It means the muscles that support the spine are supporting the front of the spine. Inhale as you're ready. Exhale. As you cat curl, it's kind of a hollowing in and lifting along the front spine. And then inhale, three-dimensionally around the spine to protect it. And exhale, hollow into the front spine. Inhale, three-dimensionally. And exhale. Still hugging the legs towards the center channel. And inhale, your arms open and lift your limbs. From the lifted fingers, connect back down into the shoulder girdle. Release the shoulder girdle away from the ears. Hug in from the shoulders towards the heart center. And root that down in to the pelvic core. Take an inhale. Exhale through pursed lips. See if you can lift the heels and lower the heels. Hug the legs gently towards center, the inner thighs. Lift the heels. Lower the heels. One more. Lift the heels. Lower the heels. Release the arms. And step the feet into Tadasana. Broad across your shoulders, three-dimensional inhale. Exhale through your straw. Lift the pelvic floor. Lengthen the spine skyward. Feel a gentle hug in towards center line with the transverse abdominis. Follow your own breath. Inhaling three-dimensionally. Exhaling through the straw. Hug in the outer banks of your river. But don't let these outer banks just be at the sides. Hug at the diagonals. Imagine you're a hole in the rock that the water pours through. And so it's the whole circumference hugging in towards the water. But it's not a stiff, tight hug. It's a gentle, earthy hug. And don't forget the shoulders. A gentle hug in at the shoulders, an integration of the shoulders. Okay, pick up your long theraband. Today, wrap the long theraband open. I'm wearing a blue shirt with a blue theraband. Make sure it's open and around your lowest ribs. So it's not at the cushy part of your waistline. It's at the lowest ribs. Cross the TheraBand in front of you. Rooting your feet. Inhale as you take the hands out. Inhale. Fill the strap that's tightening. Exhale. Elbows in towards center. Inhale into the strap that's tightening. Remember, you can't activate the core unless you can breathe three-dimensionally. So breathe down into the diaphragm. So the strap's wrapped around you. Oh, is your strap too short, Kelly? Fluid breath. Yeah. Inhaling into the strap as it crosses in the front. And exhale. Inhale. And exhaling. One more. Inhale. And exhale. Now inhale. Holding the strap there. Exhale. And inhale. Fill it. Exhale. Release from it. Inhale. Fill it. Exhale. Release from it. One more time. Inhale. Fill it. Exhale. Release from it. Okay. Place your hands on your square. Thumbs on the lowest ribs, fingers on your hip pointers. Now, side bend towards the right, and notice how that side of the square shortens. Come back up. Side bend to the left. Come back up. Now place your right hand on the ribs and your left hand on the hip pointer, and take the right hand across towards the left hip pointer and the right ribs across towards the left hip pointer in a twist. Feel how you've shortened that line from the right ribs to the left hip pointer and open back up. Switch hands. Left hand on the ribs, right hand on the hip pointer. Take the left ribs across towards the right hip pointer. Draw the line of your myofascial sling. This is your obliques at work. And then come back open. Okay, now do that one more time. Take the left ribs across towards the right hip pointer. As this front line shortens, feel how from the left shoulder to the right buttock, you've lengthened the line. Now shorten that back line from the left shoulder to the right buttock by opening back up. Straight. So as you bring that left shoulder around, that line shortens and you've balanced the lines. The front abdominal line and the back line. Now switch. Right hand to ribs, left hand to hip pointer. Activate your right shoulder blade on the back body, and for a moment reach from right shoulder to left buttock. Feel that line. Now as you bring the right ribs towards the left hip pointer, feel how you're stretching the line from the left buttock to the right shoulder blade. These lines work with each other. Now tighten the line on the back, open the line on the front. And release your arms. Stand for a moment with your myofascial slings in your awareness. Keep those X's across your abdomen and across your back in mind. And inhale, fill the lowest circle of ribs. And exhale. Okay, so now come to the wall. Come to the wall and come into your robot arms. Bring the whole line of your humerus bone back into the wall. Soften your knees. Let your head and hyoid bone rest back. Your gaze is parallel with the floor. Now your head may not touch the wall if you have a thoracic curve away from the wall. You're not going to do military neck and flatten your neck back. We're going to look towards the floor. We're going to visualize a swan reaching its head down into the water and drawing up some pond grass as it rolls its head majestically onto the top of its spine. And you're going to do that too. Let your head sit on top of the spine. And again, look down into the water like a swan. And then roll your head back up on top of your neck. Now broaden across your collarbones. And gently press humerus bones back. They may not touch the wall, but we're pressing the head of the humerus back broad. And root down into your feet, lengthen through your crown. Breathe into the full circumference of your rib cage, of your abdomen. Let your buttocks press back against the wall. Feel into hugging the banks of your river in. Root into the four corners of the feet, lift your toes, lift your arches, lengthen through the crown. And now place your hands on your abdomen. Place your hands on your hip pointers, draw them up to your ribs. Draw them towards each other across to meet at the center of your ribs, and then back out and down to the hip pointers and across the abdomen. There's your Pilates Square. Feel what happens to the Pilates Square as you relax your toes and lift to one toe. Stay broad and back in the shoulders even though your arms are hanging. And lift the knee. Can you still feel into your Pilates Square? And release the foot down. Ground it, root it into the floor as you lift the other side. Stay conscious of your Pilates Square. Lift the knee. Stay conscious of your shoulders resting back, your head resting back. Make sure you're not hyperextending your standing knee in effort. Root through the four corners. Hug the banks of your river in. Lift the pelvic floor, lengthen to the crown. And root the leg. Bring your fingertips back to the wall and lean away from the wall. So your fingernails are on the wall. Thumbs are out. Broaden the back of your collar. Now make sure you're not flaring the front ribs. Keep aware of your Pilates Square. Root your tailbone towards the corner where the floor and wall meet. Lengthen through your crown, keeping the back of the neck long. Use that Pilates Square to give you support in the front body. Feel your myofascial slings across the back body so you can root down into your heels by crossing from shoulders to their opposite buttock and down the legs. Lift the base of the skull. Lift the heart center. But don't lose your Pilates Square. And walk away from the wall. And pause. Fluid breath. Feel the whole circumference of the torso. So the more we learn about the core, the more we realize we want to activate this entire circumference. So we've had so much focus over time on the front abdomen, but we need to strengthen the sides and the back as well. Let's come to the floor. Bring in a pillow if you use one. Have your TheraBands, your ball blocker, and please have your suboccipital release today and your circle TheraBand. Okay. And those of you who are choosing ball blocker, you may want a block when we use the TheraBand because the TheraBand creates more stability awareness, and you may want more stability under your pelvis. Fluid breath. Broad across your shoulders, broad across your pelvis. Let your spine rest out, come into your robot arms, and press the head of the arm bones back towards the floor, even if they don't touch. Feel the length of your humerus bone pressing back. Wake up the back body. Now, as you wake up that back body, notice if you have a tendency to flare the front ribs. Keep your neutral lumbar curve. Try not to flare the front ribs. Press the arms back, strong across the back. Nod the head yes. And find your neutral gaze perpendicular to the floor and float one leg to tabletop. Float the foot down light as a feather. Float the next leg to tabletop. Float down light as a feather. Now feel into your Pilates Square and make sure you're not losing it. See if you can maintain awareness inside the Pilates Square as the legs move. Can you still also maintain awareness of a breath across your shoulders, kind of resting back at the head of the arm bones, or resting back at the hyoid bone at your neck crease. Now float one leg to tabletop and pause. Stay strong in the shoulders, strong awareness in your Pilates Square, and float the other leg out. Heels together, knees wide. Toe dip 1 foot 2/3 of the way towards the floor. Come back up. Make sure you're moving from your hip, not your knee. Inhale down and exhale up. Keep a consciousness in your Pilates Square. Let your legs move from the stability you're creating in your back body and your front abdomen. Feel how you can create strength and stability for that one moving limb. And we do a few beautiful movements. We're not trying for 40 reps. Bring the legs together, flex the feet, press the hands into the femurs, pull the femurs towards your chest. It's an isometric. Keep your neutral lumbar curve as you press the hands and pull the legs. Feel for drawing energy towards the spine from the front body. Feel for a length along the sides and back of the spine. We're not flattening the lumbar curve. We're not flattening the cervical curve. We're not pressing so hard we're pinching between the vertebrae. In fact, the pressing of the legs, even though they're pulling towards you, may help you slightly traction the spine. Feel how your front abdominal core can work. This is a very safe isometric for the low back. Now, hug the knees in towards the chest. Release that abdominal core work and circle the knees. Feel into fluid hips. Because yes, we do want these limbs to be able to flow out from this strong core. Circle the legs the other way. We want the strength and stability and the fluidity, and we get to choose what part is going to be stable and what part is going to flow. Now hug your right knee in, lengthen your left leg out. Feel into your Pilates Square. Make sure it's square. Lengthen your spine, lift your head if you need to. And then nod your nose towards your mouth and almost lift from your hairline. Feel how we want movement up the spine from that central core through the front neck flexors. And switch legs. And switch legs. Hug that midline of your body even with the legs. So we're not flopping the legs out wide. We're reaching down. Constantly conscious of that center channel. The head is almost lifting off the floor, and we're really making sure we wake up those front neck flexors. Lots of people who are too eager to lift the head, they don't strengthen those front neck flexors. They strengthen muscles that are already strong in the sides of the neck. So get those front neck flexors on board. Spend a few breaths here, and then maybe float your head up, look towards the knees. We reach and reach with the legs, and we're reaching out from that very stable Pilates Square. But we're remembering there's a powerhouse in Pilates, so we're hugging the glutes into the bone to kind of help stabilize the banks of the river. And then hug both knees into the chest. Lift hands and feet towards the sky. Zip up the midline. Hug in all around the circumference of the watery body. And then take the wrists away from the ankles. Circle the arms and hug the knees in. Some of you may almost lift from the hairline as you reach, circle, and hug. Now reach out and pause at your point of control. Feel the Pilates Square from ribs to hip pointers. Feel your back myofascial slings. And circle and hug. Inhale out and pause. Feel the center channel, the banks of your river. Circle and hug. One more. Inhale out. Feel the strength and stability of awareness at your Pilates Square. Circle and hug. Now, lift the right leg overhead, left leg long. If lifting the right leg overhead, you tweak the right hip up towards the right armpit, then you've lost your Pilates Square. Lengthen. Keep the hips hugging midline. Keep them stable and centered, even if that means bending the front knee. And pulse, just 1 inch. Pulse, pulse. And switch. Pulse, pulse. Now nod nose towards mouth. Almost lift from the hairline. Can you stay conscious of your Pilates Square? And on your next exhale, blow out through your straw. Feel for a lift in the pelvic floor and awareness of your transverse abdominis. Inhale three-dimensionally. Exhale out through your straw. And it can be several movements. You can find a rhythm with your own breath. Stay with the breath. Inhaling three-dimensionally. Exhaling through the straw, feel for the pelvic floor. Feel for your muscles inside your Pilates Square. Get used to feeling the core as the legs move from that core. Now see, can you also draw awareness to the outer buttocks, to the outer hips, and to the waistline? We're building consciousness. Float the feet. Bring the legs together. Hands to your core, bend the knees. Thumbs on your ribs, fingers on your hip pointers, toe dip, one foot towards the floor. Come back up. Toe dip the other side. Stay conscious of this Pilates Square. Your legs can be parallel now, but we're not touching the toe to the ground. We're keeping the knee at a right angle. Feel into your Pilates Square. Drawing the legs up, flex the feet. Press the hands into the femurs. Pull the femurs towards the chest. Do so at an effort level where you can keep a long spine, broad shoulders. You can nod your head no and yes. You can press and pull. You can wake up the core. You don't have to work at 100% because we're going to stay here. Now, take a deep inhale. Exhale through your straw. Lift the pelvic floor. Take another inhale when you're ready. Exhale through the straw. Lift the pelvic floor. One more. Draw the knees into the chest. Circle them together around the perimeter of your sacrum. The sacrum is a key point because it is the arrowhead anchor of the spine between the hips. It's the joining bone. Feel into its importance. Circle the other way. It's the base of the Pilates Square. Now float one foot lightly to the floor and the other. Press your pillow out. Reach for your ball blocker, oof, and lift your pelvis. Oh wait, lower your pelvis first. Bring your legs back up and bring the circle TheraBand around your legs if you want to use it. A couple of inches above the knee. Now you can do all this work without it, and if you have a hip injury, that might be better. But if you want to gain a little more awareness, put the TheraBand on today. Lower your sacrum onto the ball, blocker, oof. Place your thumbs at your low ribs, your fingers at your hip pointers. Now have your heels aligned with your sit bones and press gently out to the TheraBand. Lengthen your spine, gaze perpendicular to the floor, and keeping your right leg still, your square still, open the left leg out into the TheraBand. Bring it back in. Do this 3 times, keeping the right side of the body still and strong. Keeping your square in a square. And come back in. Now round the other side and open. And close. Switching sides. Keep that square steady. You can use your back shoulders. You can use your arms. Keep that square steady. Now notice a lot of the steadiness, switch back and forth now, is going to come from the whole body, because Pilates believed the motions are whole body in their action. So as you move the one leg, feel how muscles turn on all around the body to help you stabilize for that movement. They turn on across your myofascial slings. They stabilize cross body. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, float one leg to tabletop. Float the other up to join. Stay in your tabletop position. Hug the legs towards midline. Really activate the outer legs all the way around. Hug towards the bone. Hug towards the bone and then hug towards the center channel. Feel into how that may activate your Pilates Square. Now, keeping that awareness of the right leg, take the left leg out and come back in. Your job is to keep the rest of the body still as you take the left leg out and come back to center. take the left leg out. Now, as you take the left leg out, really ground in your right low ribs, connected to your left hip pointer, connected to your left, if you're taking the left leg out, you're grounding the right side, right low ribs, right hip pointer, right shoulder. Now take the right leg out, ground the other side, left shoulder, left ribs, left hip. Fluid breath, fluid movement, very still body other than the one moving limb. This is very important work in Pilates. It's teaching you how and where to stabilize. Now take both legs out. We'll begin our clamshells here. Take both legs out and come back in. Both legs out and come back in. Feel how you can create center with symmetry. Makes it easier. Now you can stay with either of these movements if that's where you need to practice, or you can lift your legs, pointing the toes towards the sky, zip up the inner thighs, hug in the banks of your river, and open the legs out to the theraband and pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hug the center channel. Now, feel for a moment pressing up through your inner heels. Feel how that activates the inner thighs. Take it in now. Exhale through your straw, draw the pelvic floor into the body. Feel the strength of your square. Now take the right foot at a diagonal, the left foot out, and pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and hold. Take a deep three-dimensional inhale. Exhale through your straw, lengthen the whole sleeve of muscles along the spine. Check in with your shoulders, they're resting broad. Bring the heels back together, left foot overhead. In a diagonal, right foot out, pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and hold. As you lengthen through the crown from the pelvic floor, feel how you can also activate low ribs towards hip pointers and maintain your square. And come back towards center channel. Take the right leg overhead, left foot down the mat. Feel how your inner thighs can stay connected, your outer hips can hug the midline, and pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and hold. From the center of your core, radiate out through the legs. Hug from the toes back into the center core. Activate your buttocks to help integrate. And bring the heels together. Take the left foot overhead, right foot down the mat, and pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and hold. Palpitate the abdominal core. Feel it. Feel what's turned on between your hip pointers, up through the center channel, out the ribs, and come back together. Bend your knees. Shins parallel with each other. Keep your left leg totally still and toe dip right. And pause once you've toe dipped 2/3 of the way. Take a deep inhale. Exhale through your straw, lifting your pelvic floor, lengthen the spine inside the square. Come back up. Toe dip the left leg and pause. Take an inhale. Exhale through your straw. Feel into the strength inside your square. Come back up. Toe dip the right leg. Pause. Broaden across your shoulders. Relax your jaw and eyes. Where do you need to work? And are you overworking? Are you gripping? Try to find a balance. How much do you need to work? Maybe you're going to release your toes. Maybe your jaw. Come back up. Toe dip the other side and pause. Do the banks of your river help? Does activating glutes help? But none of it's a gripping action, so find how you can do the work without gripping. Come back up. And float one foot to the floor and then the other. Pause in your bridge, heels align with sit bones, and take your knees wide and pause. Now as you press out into the theraband, gently hug the glutes into the bone. Put your hands on your belly and breathe into your hands. So glutes are working now. Breathe into the hands. Relax the abdominal core. Supported by the back body, the back of the powerhouse. Bring your knees back in. and come into a lifted bridge. So if you have ball under, you can leave it there if you'd like. Reach out through the knees, reach out through the head, lengthen the tailbone. Hands onto the front abdomen, breathe into the whole circumference of the abdominal cavity. Root your big toe ball mounds, your inner heels. Pinky toe ball mounds, your outer heels. Breathe into your waistline. Breathe into the low back. Take the ball out, block out, and lower your pelvis to the floor. Hug your knees in and take off the TheraBand. Oh, actually, let's leave the TheraBand on. Now, some of you, this may be too much with the TheraBand. Some of you might enjoy the challenge. Roll yourselves over on your sides for web chest. So, it's totally up to you whether you keep the TheraBand on or not, but if you start to feel too much work in the hips, take it off, okay? So your back is going to align with the back edge of your mat. Bring in a pillow if you'd like so that your neck can be in neutral. And bring your top arm onto hands onto fingertips right in front of the core so you can still activate your shoulder girdle. Now heels are aligned with your sit bones, and we'll open the knee and close the knee. And let's inhale, open, and exhale, closed. Now, as you exhale, closed, we're not dropping the leg back down. We're slowly, still resisting the TheraBand, even if it's in your imagination, as you lower the knees towards each other. Inhaling, open, exhale. Inhaling and exhaling. One more. Now, straighten the legs. Now, palpate your square, just the belly in your square. It's still helping you stabilize, so we're not slumping into the floor. You're reaching this top hip long a little bit so that this side waist may lift a little off the floor. Come back to your fingertips and lift the leg and lower. And inhale slowly up and slowly down. Inhale and exhale. Breathe. Bring the smooth flow of Qigong in. It's not how high you can lift. It's smooth up and smooth down. Joseph Pilates wanted us to have the graceful movements of animals. So think of those animals running through the forest, or the plains, or the jungle. One more. Okay, now bend your knees so that your femur bones are perpendicular to your spine and your knees are at a right angle. And here we are in the pages of our book on our sides. Now make sure you're not slumping that waistline, because if you do, then you're slumping that spine. Float the leg up and lower. And inhale and exhale. And open and close. Now, some of you are rocking your body. Again, think of your myofascial slings across the back. Line up your head with your spine. You're still that swan with your head on top of your spine, even at this angle. And one more. Now, try one more thing. Float your leg up, keeping the knee at the right angle. Take the foot back behind you and come forward. Back behind you and forward. One more time. And forward and lower down. Okay, that's probably enough on that side for today. Come up onto your forearm. Keeping your TheraBand on, come in for your side planks. Lift the arm, and here, before we even rainbow, I want you just to lift the arm today. Find your myofascial slings in the back. Broaden across your wingspan. Hug in the banks of your river. Now take an inhale. Exhale through your straw. Feel for that lift of the pelvic floor, awareness of the center channel and square, and then lift. And lower. So it's about building awareness. A lift and lower. that bottom bank of the river lifting you. Awareness all the way up through your lengthening neck. Now, some of you may lift and hold. Fluid breath, use your glutes. Three-dimensional breath. Exhaling through the straw, lift the pelvic floor, lengthen through your crown. And release the hip, and let's switch sides. So as you switch sides, make sure you're lining up your back body with the back of your mat. It's this lining up, and that is important for the head, because we want the head in line with the spine. Okay? So it's a little bit of a challenge with me with my headpiece in to have my head on the pillow, but I like the head on the pillow. Okay. So remember, heels aligned with sit-bones. We open and close. Front hand on fingertips. We are active in this top shoulder. Active in the bottom shoulder. Active in the side waist. So you're pressing a little into the bottom hip so that you're not slumping. Shoulder and hip are active. Feel into those clamshells. Heels together, just open your knees. Heels together, open your knees. This is the starting point. And see if you can do this without rocking the body back to open the knees. Keep the hip over hip, shoulder over shoulder. Imagine that your back body's against a wall, so it's stable. Good. And now straighten your legs out and lift and lower. Now continue to kind of traction out of the hip, so we're not bunching these muscles up around the hip. Think of the bones as spacers. They're spacing out towards your heel. We're keeping this side waist alive and off the floor. It's not slumping, which is better for our spine. Woohoo! I always feel the second side more. One more. Actually, let's do a couple more. We did a few more on the other side. Okay, now bend your knees. Come into a right angle at the legs. You can keep your feet flexed if you like. And then open the page of the book. And close. Now remember when we did this on the ball, how you were stabilizing the body. Try to just have it be the moving limb that's moving. How are you going to use your myofascial slings, your front abdominal core, your awareness of center channel? And how are you going to move? Fluidly, like an animal, not throwing the leg up and down like a robot. Fluid. Now come up and press the foot back and come forward and press back and forward and exhale and inhale and exhale and inhale. One more and lower. Whew. Okay, let's roll over onto our backs. Oh wait, no, we gotta do our planks. Sorry, almost forgot. It was in my headpiece. Okay, come onto your forearm. Now, before we begin, open your wingspan. Feel your shoulder blades. Connect them across their myofascial slings to the hips. And as you're ready, hug the midline. Lift through the pelvic floor and inhale. Float up, rainbow. Exhale, float back down. Feel that lower bank of the river lifting you. Use your glutes hugging in towards the bone to create stability. It's not just about the grounding arm. It's about the hugging the center channel. Feel how hugging the center channel can help you create more fluid motion. Can you lengthen out through the crown? Release the circumference of the collar away from the lengthening neck. And then lift up, hugging the banks, and hold if you like. Length. Where can you release tension? And release. Let's leave the band on and come on to hands and knees. You didn't know what you were asking for, Anne. I'm gonna get your hips in every different direction. Okay, step your knees as wide as your sit bones. Open each finger so there's a little space between them. Looking down. And I know these TheraBands can be kind of a pain. They can roll up on you a little bit. Okay. You can do this work without the TheraBand if it feels like you're annoyed with your TheraBand. Lengthen from crown to tail. Take a deep three-dimensional inhale. Exhale through your straw. Invite the pelvic floor up into the body. Lengthen through your crown. Feel for your neutral cervical curve. Now, as you inhale, expand away from the spine. As you exhale through the straw, draw in to support the spine. Feel it at your side lace. Feel it at the front abdomen. Lengthen the spine even as you're hugging in towards that center lumbar. Notice how your hips can draw in and help. Now, put your weight more on your left leg and float the right leg out to the side. Remember, there's a vase of flowers on your sacrum, so you're only going to lift as far as to not knock those flowers off. So you may not lift out that far, but feel into how you're going to be activating your obliques, both to stabilize yourself and to lift that, and to support that lifting leg, the abductor muscles of the hip. Lengthen through your spine. Make sure you're not bunching up the lifting leg shoulder. And lower the leg. Rooting down. Take it to the other side. Remember, the vase of waters only go out as far as you can keep stable in your sacrum. Because part of what we're training is stability. So from the shoulder girdle down into the arms, make sure you're not hyperextending your elbows. Can you find balance in the stability of the body? And come back down. Last one, we'll take one leg up towards the ceiling so the TheraBand's pulling on the thigh. Lengthen your spine, take a three-dimensional inhale. And exhale, pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and hold. Lengthen through the spine. Release the collar. Root into the arms and standing leg. And release. Root the next side down. Take the next foot back and up. Knees at a right angle. And long spine. Support the front spine from the core as you pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and hold. Create space inside the torso. So we want strength and space. And release. Roll your toes under and float your hips back into downward dog. Press a little bit out into the TheraBand as you slowly take your femur bones back. Bring your head and neck forward of the arms a little bit and lengthen the neck. Float one leg up behind you. We're rooting into the arms and the standing leg. Pulse the TheraBand. 1, 2, 3, and release. Root the other side with the leg. Pulse the TheraBand. 1, 2, 3, and release. Roll forward into your plank. Roll over your toe hinges. and roll back into your downward dog. Walk your dog. Now as you walk your dog, just be aware of the part of your legs that's touching the therapy. Oftentimes we don't have awareness of this part of the leg. Can you maintain that awareness, that part of your leg, and breathe into your abdomen? As you exhale through your straw, feel for that hug of the transverse abdominis. Maintain that awareness as you walk your feet in. Slightly bend your knees and release the therapy. Stepping your legs out. Knees bent. Standing child's pose. Breathe your abdomen into the legs. Breathe wide into the side waist and the low back. Rooting into the feet, lift your sit bones slightly. Release the head. Hug in the banks of your river and root the feet again. Release the abdomen. Release the low back. And then float out, Utkatasana, hands at the heart. Activate the awareness you've been building in class today as you pause in Utkatasana. Exhale to standing. And bring your thumbs to your low ribs, your fingers to your hip pointers. And take your left foot out. Now broaden across the shoulders and wake up your myofascial slings in the back. Maintain awareness of this Pilates Square as you lift the leg. It will shorten the left side slightly, but try to keep it long. Keep lengthening through your crown. And tap. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Draw the leg to center, lift the knee, and tap. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Lift the knee. Open the page of the book. Close the book. Open the book. Close the book. Stay aware of your square. Open and close and step down. Take the right foot out. Try to keep length in that right side of your Pilates Square. And lift the toe and tap. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Draw the leg in, lift the knee. Keep your square and tap. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Lift the knee. Open the page. Keep your square. Close the page. Open. It'll shift a little bit, but we don't want to collapse in this right side by lifting the hip. And open. Stand strong on your standing leg. Lift through your crown. Keep that center channel. And release. Shake out your arms. Shake your limbs again. Let go of the hands. Let go of the forearms. Let go up into the shoulder girdle. And notice if there's any more kind of openness or space in the body after the work we've done. Let your knees bobble. And as we shake, is there more consciousness in your body? Now, pause, and let's come into the little Qigong movement and be aware of what happens to the square. If the square opens into a rectangle, doesn't mean you can't still be aware of the square. Inhale, lift your heart. Stretch that front square into a rectangle. Exhale, let your arms come around, back of hand to back of hand. Closing the square from ribs to hip pointers. Inhale, lift. Now can you lengthen the back rectangle as well as the front rectangle? As you exhale, bring the front ribs towards the hips. And in. And exhale. And feel how Pilates can inform your understanding of the center channel, even in Qigong. and of ways to stabilize around the center channel to help you create space and awareness, even as you go through the fluid movements of another practice, whether it's yoga or qigong. Fluid breath. And come back to stillness. And roll your right shoulder away from your left toe and your left shoulder away from your left toe. Feel how you're now opening across your myofascial slings, across from rib to hip. Feel it. Stretch it. Take the elbow, stretch it even more. Extend the toes, stretch that whole line. If we just strengthen, we get stiff. We want a fluid and mobile awareness in this part of our body. We are water. Maybe the hand stretches. We build strength, but we don't forget to open the body to remain fluid, strong, and stable. And come back down, heels together. And pause in your Pilates stance. Find your center channel, hug in. Root down, rise up. And bend your knees. And lift your heels and zip it up and lower. And bend, lift, zip and lower. Bend, lift, zip and lower. Now see, as you zip, if you can draw in and lengthen up through the crown, lifting the pelvic floor, hugging in the glutes, and lower. Now lift, find that same lift through the center channel. Bend, keep the lift, lower the heels and zip up, lengthen. Lift, bend, lower and zip. Lift, bend, lower and zip. Find that center channel again. And remember, we want to move from the core, but we also want to move from that center channel. Fluid, three-dimensional breath, still hugging that center channel. And in, draw into your growing awareness. Let any new aha moments settle in as you draw in the energy for the day. And let's draw in a wonderful Wednesday for all of you. Okay. Oh, hi, Evan. Oh, Evan didn't get the memo. Did you not get the memo? All right, everyone.